Hey guys, this is the final video in our mini-series all about keeping ourselves emotionally healthy during this difficult time. We've heard loads of really top tips. So Bridget's going to give us a quick recap and then she's going to introduce this new part of this series.
So in video 1, we were thinking about our emotions, that all of our emotions are okay. And video number 2, we were thinking about our ACEs, making sure that we have achievement, closeness to others and enjoyment each day. And the last video that we did was about listening to your thoughts and having an attitude of gratitude. And today we wanted to think a little bit about the boundaries that you put in your life.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is a time with all of this social isolation that everybody's routines are all changing and that everything just seems to be different now, and there's a lot of change, and I know that change is tricky for a lot of people. So I think having this as a chance to just take stock of our life and look at the stuff we're doing and being like, hang on, wait, is this helpful? I spoke a little bit about toxic people, and I felt that was like a real strong word to use, because I think lots of us can sometimes struggle with toxic people. Sometimes people don't notice it, but I'm thinking during this time less about the known people that are bullies and that are mean and that can be really, really awful. I'm thinking about maybe the people that take a lot out of us and that can be quite draining for us to be around. So I think in my life, like my whole world is with supporting people emotionally, and sometimes I need to not be around people that I need to support emotionally. I just need to be around people that are just going to be fun and a laugh. So I would encourage you to maybe take stock and check about the people that you're spending time around, and maybe reducing that time. If you know that speaking to certain people is just going to end up stressing you out, then when you're having a bad day, pause that and talk to them a different day. Yeah. I think as well there's something about guarding what you're doing on your phones and on your computers. Social media is a massive one. Like right now, social media is our way that we're reaching out to the people that we care about, and that's really, really, really good. The scrolling through unhelpful fake news may be setting off your emotions. So I find sometimes I'll be getting cross or I'll be getting worried when I see certain stuff. So just be hot on that. Make sure you're checking in with yourself emotionally. I'm looking at all this stuff and how is it making me feel? Also, news. I can't watch it. Like I'll watch the big stuff sometimes, but news for me right now is quite tricky. So I'm being boundaried and saying, do you know, right now it's not doing me any good. So just be really, really careful about what you're exposing yourself to. The other thing that we thought a little bit about in regards to boundaries was about being able to say no to stuff and being able to say no nicely. It's really important to have that boundary there. And I know, Adam, you're quite good at being able to explain this from a biblical point of view about Jesus saying no.
Yeah, there's lots of stories in the Bible of Jesus doing amazing things, and in particular there's a story of him going to a town called Capernaum, and he goes to this town and he's doing amazing things, like he's healing people, he's saving people, he's changing people's lives, he's doing the things that Jesus does best and what he's known best for. But there comes a point where Jesus kind of stops doing that and he kind of withdraws himself and he spends time alone with God. And the disciples or his followers kind of come and find him and say, hey Jesus, there's still a load of people here that need you and desire to be healed by you. And he says, yeah, let's just go. But Jesus, there's all these people and they need you right now. And he says no. And then the writer of the book of Luke, who was a doctor, and the stuff that he wrote would have been pretty on point because of his profession. He said this: so they set out and went from village to village preaching the gospel and healing people everywhere. You see, if Jesus had stayed in Capernaum the whole time and just healed the people of Capernaum, then nobody else would have been touched or healed. But Jesus knew that he had to say no to certain things and say no to certain people in order to go on to the things that were destined for him and for greater things. So guys, I want to encourage you to say no. It's okay to say no to certain things. It's okay to say, actually not right now, that's not for me right now, or this isn't right now. So no is the answer. Like Bridget said, it's saying no firmly, but saying it friendly as well. We don't want to cause grief when we say no, but we do want to be honest, because honesty and authenticity, they always trump excellence. And what I mean by that is saying people trust authenticity, they trust honesty. So if you say no honestly and give an honest answer why, people will just respect that and they take it on the chin and say, okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, and I think I just want to go back one as well, where you said thinking about you couldn't watch the news and stuff like that. I want to encourage you guys, don't start your day off with negative news, with fake news and stuff like that. I'm a real stickler for it. The first thing I often do is go and reach for my phone, and I will scroll through my Facebook, or I'll look at my Twitter or my Instagram. And more often than not, the stuff on there that isn't good for me, it's not healthy for me. And so recently, in the last few months, me and Bridget have changed that. So the first thing I do is I still reach for my phone, but I put on a prayer app in the morning, and we sit and pray together in the morning.
Lovely.
And it's brilliant, and it sets our day up, and we make sure that we bookend our day, the beginning and the end, with something positive. I heard one of my mentors say this the other day: don't start your day off with something negative, and don't end the day with something negative. And he was talking about the news. He was saying, look, start the day off with Jesus, because Jesus is always going to be positive, and finish your day with Jesus. And so guys, I want to encourage you to maybe think about doing something like that. Bridget, have you got some more stuff?
I think like leading on to that really is about, there's something that I always used to think about that I call spiritual disciplines, which is the stuff that you do that just is like, it just makes you good with God. So the other thing, as we're thinking about shaking stuff up and protecting yourselves, like all of this stuff, whether you guys like it or not, it's really important that we do it, because you are precious, like you're really precious and you're really important. And it might not feel like that's true, but it is true. You're incredibly precious to God, and therefore that makes you incredibly precious to us.
Yeah.
So it's really important that during this time, this massive change round of things, we're just shaking stuff up and thinking about how you can do things differently, like how you can worship differently, how you can listen to music differently, how you can pray or read bits of your Bible, or whether you can be kinder to people, you can do things that are really loving towards people on purpose, and you can just shake stuff up in your lifestyle a bit more. In all of this stuff, we really want it to be okay to talk about emotions, like we really want that. And I know that you guys know Adam so much better than you know me, but as Adam and I are a team, we are here during this time. I know that we can't physically be there standing with you, but we're not far away. Do get in touch with us, get in touch with Adam, like you're not on your own during this time.
Yeah.
Stuff is rough, so reach out to us, please.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in all of this, guys, you'll have heard this statement a lot: stay safe. We're not talking about just washing your hands here, but we're talking about making sure that you stay safe with your mind and with yourself. You know, your mind is such an important thing. Often your mind leads you to do things. It's the thoughts that we have that often lead us to then eventually do something. And so guys, make sure you stay safe with your thoughts in this difficult time, in this crazy time. There are people who are praying for you, who are rooting for you, and we are part of that. You know, the church is rooting for you, and I'm not just talking about the church here in Kidderminster, but I'm talking about the church. God's church is rooting for you. People are praying for you all over, and we believe that God is shaking stuff up and he's doing stuff for the good, really. So guys, stay safe and keep protected. At the end of this video, we're going to point you to a few things that we maybe use that help us with our mental health. And I'm just going to mention a couple of things for me that really help. So the first one is, you've already heard me say that, is I reach for my phone now and I grab my phone and I put on a little app. That app is called Lecto 365 and it's by a bunch of guys called Prayer 24/7. If you've got a smartphone, which most of you will do now, all you have to do is go to your app store, whether it's Google Play or the App Store, and just search Lecto 365 or Prayer 24/7. And each morning you'll be able to start your day by just listening to somebody leading you in a prayer, a short Bible passage, and a time of thoughts and reflections where you can just really center yourselves. And I would first of all encourage you to do that. The second tip that I have, many people use this already, so if you're a churchgoer, you probably already use this, is use the YouVersion Bible app and download a Bible plan. Now, the one that we're using at the moment and we're loving at the moment is the Bible in 1 Year by Nicky Gumbel. And he wrote a course called Alpha, and we went through that recently. And I want to really encourage you to really think about using that. The third and final thing that I want to say before I pass to Bridget and her top tips is the next place where I look to is a company called the Mind and Soul Foundation, and they're a Christian organisation and they're fantastic. They give lots of top tips about mental health and how to equip yourself really well. And I would encourage you to look to them. They are mental health experts, but they will give you a perspective of Christ, which is a heavenly perspective. So guys, those are my top 3 tips. That is Lecto 365, the YouVersion Bible app, and checking out the Mind and Soul Foundation. Bridget, have you got anything that you would recommend on top of that?
Yep, the usual that you guys should know about, the Childline, the Samaritans, and some of the good stuff online. Young Minds do amazing stuff if you want to have a potter around there. But yeah, those are the core ones, those are the good guys.
Great. Guys, stay blessed, stay safe. We're praying for you. Keep in touch.